Good evening. Happy Monday evening here in beautiful Michigan. I see there's been a bunch of comments going, but I want to give it a few minutes to build some numbers and clear out the people monitoring the first few statements that tend to come on here. Another day, another pause, another face mask governor to talk to us a little bit. And it's a pretty crazy time in our state and in our country. I don't even know exactly where to start because I've been doing this for 8 months now. I've been talking to all of you, and we've had hundreds of thousands of you that have joined us during this time. But at the same time, when it's come to business, there has been so much fear instilled through the words of our governor and her executive orders and now her health department that so many are fearful to stand up. Those that have stood up, you can see as we've posted them how successful they're being. We're seeing amazing things that are happening there. Hundreds, if not thousands of people are going to these locations on a daily and weekly basis to the point where they have to cut back their hours just to be able to bring in as many people and keep their staff from falling apart, literally, as some of them have talked to me about this last weekend. And I remember 3 weeks ago when we entered into this latest phase of the health department's mandates, the governor's mandates. She's bypassed the legislature. She's done it once again. So for these 3 weeks, she called it what? A pause. The pause for 3 weeks for us just to get this back under control again, not unlike we did in March and early April. We just needed a pause to bend the curve and be able to handle things. Well, I don't know about you, but with the amount of people being tested, with us being moved back inside and with the factories being opened and us being inside again together, we're going to see cases and we're going to see testing both ramp up to numbers that aren't going to simply change in the near future. We tried to explain that to everybody over the last couple, 3 weeks that, did you really believe? Remember when I met with the bowling centers over in Lansing, I asked, I think it was almost 70 center owners, and I said, how many of you think, put your hands up if you believe this 3-week pause is going to be it? Not a single hand went up. And yet there were many in the room who still said, I think before we really open, I want to make sure it's not just 3 weeks. But this is it. Now, if she extends this time, then I've had it. By the way, I heard that in May. I heard that in June. I heard that in July. And then in this 3 weeks, I heard it's just 3 more weeks. It's just a pause. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about what she said today. I know all of you that are watching here have heard it, watched it, or listened to it. But as you know, the indoor dining at restaurants, at bars, in-person learning at high school students, in-person learning colleges, universities, workplaces where you can work from home, venues such as theaters, stadiums, and arenas, entertainment centers such as bowling alleys, water parks, trampoline parks, ice skating rinks, roller skating rinks, and non-tribal casinos. All are closed. On the indoor and private gatherings, 10 people for no more than 2 households. So again, you can have your family and the neighbors over, but that's it. There better not be more than 10 of you. Or what exactly is she going to do? I'm just asking. So we have outdoor at private residences, 25 people, but no more than 3 households. I guess there's 8 a household. You can have 25 and you're okay there. Outside non-residential venue, 25 people at the venue without fixed seating. And then, of course, we have our outdoor diners must be seated no more than 6 people to a table, and they all have to be 6 feet apart. So we've narrowed all of this down. It isn't a lot different than maybe 10 of her executive orders who were all considered illegal. Everything she did to you and us in the summer was illegal. All of the executive orders were considered unconstitutional back to April 30th. We told you all summer that, but you all, or a whole bunch of you, 90% of you remained closed over the course of the summer. And then we reopened. Some of you only till September, or since September, for 6 weeks. And then you were shut down again by a health department after the Supreme Court said she needed to work with the legislature. I want to read just a little more here because I thought it was interesting, because I want to do a little math with you, and I'd love you all to look a little bit at a calendar to show how ridiculous and ignorant she thinks we are. But of course, the media will repeat it. I was watching all weekend long and trying to get hints, because this is all planned. The media is absolutely in bed with the messaging, trying to control your mind in exactly what it is you're going to do and what you're going to think, trying to move public opinion in her direction because she is losing control at this point. She knows it. The problem is the cases still are up. Of course they are, because the testing is up. They've already put the mechanism in place. It's not going to change. So therefore, she can't change that. It's actually more people testing positive and more cases right now. We're not talking about asymptomatic, because we can't go there. We're not talking about deaths for the most part, a little bit more than we were before, and very rarely about hospitalizations as a whole, other than the capacity, but it's because we actually are allowing other treatments, and they normally are 90 to 95% capacity. So all of those things are the case. And do we have increased COVID patients in the hospital? We absolutely do. Some out of fear, they don't want to go home, and they're staying there. And some because obviously we have moved indoors. It is winter. You're going to get viruses during the winter. We always knew it was coming. We talked about it all along. So let's go back and talk about 3 weeks ago. The date that she set for 3-week pause was going to be tomorrow. Is the end of it, by the way. The 9th is when we would go back. So the first thing I want to do with your math is today is what? Today is the 7th, correct? Your actually first business day back is 2 weeks from today, not 12 days. She announced today. Tomorrow doesn't count because you were already under the direction of there. Now we have 12 days through Sunday, I guess Sunday evening. And that takes us to what? Well, let's back up, because the time that she was scheduled for us to all be able to go back to some sort of normal was 11 days after Thanksgiving. 11 days. Now, we all know the gestation of this has been pretty much proven to be a 10 to 14 day gestation. You didn't listen, correct? You went to your family gatherings. You held your Thanksgiving. Some of you even traveled, for God's sakes. 10 days to 14 days later, there's going to be this giant spread that's going to happen because you didn't pay attention. But guess what? They've said over the weekend, the health department said, we can't test them. Even they're just getting sick now. We can't test them for another day or two. It'll take a couple of more days to get the test results back. And that's after your deadline. We have no choice but to extend the pause. We have to. Did they not do the math? Did they not know when Thanksgiving was? Right? What was going to miraculously happen that wasn't? Now, did we have more gatherings? Yes. Will there be more spread of the virus? Yes. Because we're living our lives, for God's sakes. That's why. Not because you did anything wrong, not because you certainly did anything illegal. It's because this is what happens with viruses. But it gave them room and reason to spend all weekend talking about these gigantic numbers. If you heard the word this morning, 1 million new cases this last week across the entire country. Now, best I can figure, with 330 million people, it's 1 week. 1 million is less than 1/3 of 1% of the people in a week. Do the math again. It is not as extraordinary as they're making it out to be. Do you remember when the flu had 60 million cases in 1 year? That would be more than 1 million every week on average, year round. This is ignorance. They think we're stupid. And a lot of the public falls for it. I think that you are pretty much reaching a point where you haven't fallen for it anymore, but we just don't know. We don't want to risk. If we open and then they open Tuesday and we get in trouble, we'll just wait for the 3 weeks to be out. And you said that in May and in June and in July. Some of you in August. We're going to write letters. Don't get me started on that. We're going to do a survey. I think she knows the numbers. I think we need to realize she does not care. I could use different terms. I won't. The question is, at what point in time will we stand up? I don't have an answer for that. I can come on here at every extension. I can ask you to rise up and stand up in numbers that will make her have to change what it is she's doing. She wrote in here, I'm going to read it from my phone because I've got the full thing here. Hope is on the horizon, but we need an additional 12 days to determine the full impact of the holiday. The holiday, by the way, that she did not know was coming. She did not know when Thanksgiving was. If you believe that, I don't even know. I don't know what to say. We have to mitigate the spread of this virus. We got to protect our families. I don't know how many times we've heard all this. Overwhelming our healthcare system. March, April. I mean, it's regurgitated. She had to come on and talk to us about this again. So we're going to keep these measures in place through December 20th. Do not include a completely blank lockdown, of course. No. We're going to single out certain businesses. But by the way, she wrote right in there, by the way, if you are at a factory, no problem, you can go to work. Yeah, the big box stores, no problem. The mall just hasn't become a problem, even since the holidays. I guess we talk about Thanksgiving, what you did with your family, right? What did that do? You spread time with your family, right? And that caused a huge problem. We're not going to know those results for another week or so yet. But the Friday, Black Friday, at the malls and at the big box stores, there's no problem. They didn't spread anything. It was like the protests this summer. There was no problem whatsoever. It was only the Trump rallies where they spread. Exactly what point will we come to where we say we've had enough? So enough about that. Tomorrow, we scheduled this already because we knew where we were at. We're meeting with the Restaurants and Bowling Association members of IBECA are going to join a Zoom call. I'm going to pull up my little banner here so you can see this. Okay. So if you are a restaurant owner, if you know a restaurant owner who has finally had it, maybe they've about had it. I don't know. Maybe another 2-week pause will do it for them. There is a link that is going to be available to you to join the Zoom call. I can only have 100 restaurant owner or groups of people that can join. I'm going to be if those of you that are involved in locals, you will get the information and can see it there. I'm going to be at the Alley Cat Bar and Grill in Lakeview, Michigan. We're going to be hosting the event from there. And I know there's a lot of restaurant people that came to Jimmy's Roadhouse last week for a Zoom call that was supposed to be with a group from Detroit. That was Joe and Rosalie Vicari. They were going to be hosting a stand-up. We're going to, indeed, if they extend, open up all our restaurants together. Only 48 hours before the event, they backtracked and said, well, we think we want to work with the governor. We want to all send her the information in a letter. And we were like, okay, we're going to listen to the Zoom to see. And believe it or not, they had over 100 restaurants that wanted to join the call. They actually had people who could not get in. And then they closed, locked the doors. They didn't allow people in. They did a Zoom instead. And then they got before a microphone and basically said that they were going to do a survey and that they thought they should work with the governor. She just needed to understand. Maybe she needs 2 more weeks to understand because she didn't know when Thanksgiving was. By the way, before I go into this, so to receive a link, again, if you are a restaurant owner, if you are a bowling center owner, if you are a roller skating rink owner, and you have had enough and want to stand up in large numbers, we ask that you join the Zoom call tomorrow. How do you get a link to the Zoom call? You have to email me, and you'll see right here, the Zoom call Tuesday, 1 p.m. Email me at ron@standupmichigan.com and ask me for the link. And tomorrow I will forward a link to all of you in the morning once I have set up the Zoom and scheduled the Zoom call. What we're asking so that we can have extra people there is that a group of restaurants from your town, if they're even considering it, maybe there's one standing up and 3 that are saying, I don't know what to do. Have them be invited to the one restaurant and join together. So there will be 3 or 4 or 10 restaurants on your one Zoom call. When you send me the email, please let me know your name and the name of your business or restaurant, and let me know how many restaurants might be joining from your location so that we can indeed call information out. We want to collect your email addresses for all of you and be able to stay in contact, because we are going to collectively do this. We are going to have people that have already stood up that are going to be on the call. Jimmy's Roadhouse, who stood up. This particular one, the Alley Cat, is going to be opening starting either tomorrow or Wednesday. Originally, all these were going to open on the 9th because they wanted to give her until the 8th to change her mind, because we all know if she just understood what we're going through, that there would be no problems. She definitely would change her mind. And I see people talk about fixing the roads. Well, that'd be really nice, wouldn't it? I mean, the things that we were worried about before. Can you imagine? So if you can join tomorrow, 1 p.m. I really want you to be an owner so that there's room for those. I will give highlights to this, and we will be recording the Zoom so we can share it with those that maybe can't get on. But I am interested and really want you to be able to join if at all possible. If you want to join us in person, it is the Alley Cat Bar and Grill on our locals, because we're keeping it off of our Facebook, is the address and information and phone number. And obviously, all of you, we've been asking, go to our standupmichigan.com homepage and do the 3 things. Join our email list. Second thing, join our locals, 12 months for free, and you will see all of this as well as a list of all the restaurants all across the state of Michigan that are already open. And third, subscribe to the YouTube channel so you'll get notifications and links when we do lives like this one. Those are some of the important things. Also, the 4th thing on there is, I've talked about it before, but I'm going to mention it. There are 8 up, the printable PDF. Cut these out, especially now, if you would. Cut these out and hand them out to people. It is telling them the 3 things specifically to do on here. 1, 2, 3, sign up for the website, join the locals, which is the Stand Up Michigan community platform. Even as the restaurants open and we put their information out there, we want you to be able to find it and give comments on what they've done there, but not have it on Facebook so that you're not plastered by the trolls out there who are sitting in their basements in their underwear with their masks on, waiting to tell you what it is like for you to open your business and why it is you should be staying home and sharing the mask with them. So we are just asking you again to share that information if you would. So let's go forward now to the 12 days. The 12 days take us to a Sunday on the 20th. Of course, that means Monday the 21st, which is 3 days from when? Christmas Eve and then Christmas Day. Well, let's go there for a minute. So do you believe the restaurants are going to be open just in time for all of us to finally celebrate? Thousands of restaurants opening. Go out for Christmas Eve and celebrate, or the night before Christmas Eve, because we're all opened up. If indeed that happens, it will only be to punish us in January because you didn't pay attention. Or is she going to look at it and go, you know, Christmas is only a few days away. We all need to just buckle down for a few more days because we have the holidays coming and we know there's going to be enough gatherings already. And then we move to what? The 27th, 28th. And then we're to New Year's Eve. What in the heck is she going to do about that one? Because if you don't think they're open and that we're going to go celebrate New Year's Eve, she's crazy. Of course we are. We are anyway, and we should. But in her mind, she assumes we're all listening to her. So what happens then? The pause continues, folks. So the question is, can your restaurant, can your business make it through until next month? Can it make it 6 weeks, 7 weeks? She may open for a week. Oh, you didn't pay attention. You had too many people over. January doesn't look good. Look, she has no legal authority. She didn't have it in May. She doesn't have it now. We are praying that there will be lawsuits that are going to be filed. I can tell you there will be another one filed very soon, and we'll be making announcements about that on behalf of other centers and things. The Restaurant Associations is already being referred to the Michigan Supreme Court for comment. And the questions they asked are good ones. Did she bypass the legislature? Oh, yes. By the way, she talked about them today. They just haven't offered anything. She's trying to save lives, and they just aren't working with her. If they would just codify, do you know what codify means? That means that they agree with her. She wants to start out with a mask mandate. She wants to start out with you agreeing and making sure that anything she says or the health department says, you're going to follow for as long as she sees fit. And I can promise you that's not happening. So therefore, she's bypassing the legislature and utilizing the health department. It's where we are. I see people talking about Parler and MeWe, and look, you guys all definitely can go there. It's a terrific place. I'm on Parler as well. But as far as seeing Stand Up Michigan as a community, Locals is going to be the place. We've added 1,000 or more people in the last 4 or 5 days, and literally people are joining, hundreds a day are joining there and sharing their information and seeing the visuals. And the other thing you don't understand, and I know I mentioned it, is we're going to be able to do lives through our Locals very soon, meaning the Locals there'll be no more censorship. We won't have censorship like we are through YouTube, by the way, right now. The YouTube is censoring who's able to get it, who gets notifications, who can share the video. We're not showing, the views aren't showing up. So there's pure censorship going on. We understand. When we get through to Locals, there won't be any anymore. We'll have full access to all of the things. We obviously still have access through our Facebook page and through Parler and so on, but emails and direct contact. Passing these sheets out is going to get people connected with us. And then I'm going to tease about one other thing. We are looking in the near future for all of you that were involved in the Unlock Michigan campaign. We are going to begin very soon at creating Stand Up Michigan chapters across the state of Michigan. We have always used the terms, the 3 pillars: care, inform, and activate. Care for the people, for all of you, where you are and what you're going through. Provide you with accurate information. By the way, I just listened this weekend, and I'm going to talk about accurate information. Even those that are conservative media are telling you, you can believe almost nothing that you see on television, almost nothing that you read on MLive or in social media. Now, it's true that a lot of it is automatically things people put out there. But even the stories that you're seeing, especially if you see them in 8 or 10 places through AP and whatever, it's pretty much all crap. Do not let it soak into your brain. Turn it off. It's the truth. There's a handful of places that you can go. We mentioned the Epic Times. We mentioned Newsmax. There are several other places, and there's a few other websites and sources. We believe Stand Up Michigan is a place that we give you as Michiganders and those that follow us around the country accurate information. But when we talk about that care aspect, we can only do so much from way, way up here. We have got to get you activated in your own local community. And so what our plan is we are identifying regional people who are going to begin having meetings in your regional area and potentially county by county, to spread the word and get the people who aren't going to church to show up at meetings. They're all going to be called protests, but you're going to be able to have organizational meetings to find out what the biggest problems and issues are in your community. And from up here, we're going to share that information and disseminate that so that we can help you be able to be the solution in your own community. Because remember, again, the government is never, ever going to provide a solution. They're already telling you, you can't do it, we can't trust you. But more importantly, when they are running you and they have full control over you, and when you work and if you can work, and whether you can go anywhere, whether you can have people over to your own home, and how we can trace you and track you afterwards. And we haven't gotten into vaccines yet. I'm not going there tonight. What I'm saying is that we have to join together right now in hundreds of thousands of people so that when we call an action, by the way, it will never be called on Facebook. It will be called through those meeting places, through your county directors, through emails, through our Locals, through embedded videos, in emails, through texting. And there will be an army of us that are going to show up when needed at city halls, at county halls or county commission headquarters, or at the state of Michigan in Lansing or wherever necessary. We're going to put pressure on our legislature like never before. But again, it's not going to be from way up here where we just all want you to drive from wherever you are. You can be effective more locally. And we have local people because we have 75 or 80,000 of you already we have emails with. We're going to be identifying some of you that are going to be leaders within your community that are going to believe again in the mission of Stand Up Michigan. That's a key part. We can't have people going off the deep end one way or the other. This has to be a uniformed effort that's going to be able to be taken county by county and area by area. That's going to be happening very soon. As a matter of fact, we're having one of our first leadership meetings or planning sessions on Wednesday night. So this is going to come very soon. We already have some groups that are meeting across the state. Those groups have grown in numbers dramatically in a matter of a week or two. If you put a message out locally, they will come. I know if I put one out locally here, I'll have 100 people there tomorrow night, and the following week we'll have 200. Again, multiply the numbers. And if we do that and then we print these off and pass them out to 10 friends, we all of a sudden have the 500,000 people that signed the Unlock Michigan petition. And that was not done from me talking to you. It was done from you ordering 4 sheets, not unlike this, and going to public locations and handing them out to like-minded people. And it wasn't difficult to get them to sign. It'll be even easier to get them to sign up. We're going to change Michigan. We're going to change the dynamic of our legislators. I don't care what side of the aisle they come from. They are going to hear from us. And it isn't going to be an email to their office that is full and they won't receive anymore. We've done that. It's not going to be because we show up in Lansing where they aren't on Saturday anyway. I understand there is a reason and a point for that. It's time for us to hit them in their own districts, one at a time, in big numbers, to let them know we're big, we're growing, and we are going to have a voice because we, the people, control the government, not the other way around. There will be no more tyranny in our state, but only if you join the cause. There are lots of groups, by the way, other conservative organizations that are cause-minded for whatever their all causes are, who we are reaching out to, and they and their members can be a part of all of these. But we are going to have it and be doing it in a different way, like Stand Up Michigan always does. So for tonight, I want you to talk tomorrow, I guess, with those restaurants that had one more day to plan for Wednesday, and now they don't know what to do again. Ask them to join our call, if you would, on tomorrow afternoon, 1 p.m. Zoom. I only have room for 100. Again, join together in groups of people if you can. No more than 25, by the way, if you're an outdoor setting, according to the governor. We can call these a protest Zoom if we want to. Just kidding. I do believe that it is time for us again to stand up together. I just want you to know that we're not changing and we're not going away. But it is time for us to get out from behind our keyboards and our telephones. It's about time for us to print these out and take them to work with us. Hand them out to the people who are saying, yes, my daughter works at a restaurant. Yes, my parents own a restaurant. Yes, I'd love to go bowling tonight. Pass these out and say, join here, because we're fighting for those people. The other thing you're going to get there again is those that have already stood up, because we need you to support them. The third pillar is what? Care, inform, and activate. We're going to activate you in your own community to be the solution, not the government, and to activate you now to print these off, standupmichigan.com, hand them out to everyone who is fed up. I promise you tomorrow, if you printed off 3 sheets, 24 of them, you would barely make it to lunch before you wouldn't run into 24 people that are like-minded that you could hand one of these to and say, in 5 minutes at lunch, you could do all 3 of these things. And our numbers will grow astronomically. And the numbers are what change our political capital, the ability to instill change. They all know who we are. They all know what we are. But we want to go in numbers that they've never seen before. We have, again, more lawsuits coming. We hope the Supreme Court of Michigan will act on many things. As you know, one of our Supreme Court justices is sitting on the cases that are before her in regards to election. What do we want to say? I mean, we know it's fraud. We know where we're sitting. Our legislators have to take action soon. They have to deny the electors. They have to pass a resolution very soon to deny those to be given And I say, use the words of our own governor. We need to pause the certification while we make sure that every legal vote counted and make sure that it wasn't stolen from us, which we know that it was. If given time for the court to act, if given time to subpoena our Secretary of State to come in and answer why she didn't order a forensic audit, we can still do that, and they need to do that. Legislators from around Michigan, we have been sending messages to. All of you have been on board for a lot of that. All I'm asking you now, again, for today, is call those people that are not knowing what to do, that don't know whether their people are going to come back to work, that don't know how they're going to buy gifts for their kids for Christmas, or where their rent or their house payment is going to be paid from, or their car payment. Those are real. That's not a pause, folks. It's a destruction of our individual lives and our liberties, and we just can't stand for it anymore. So tonight, be prayerful, be vigilant, and just want you all to know that, again, we know who's in control. God is in control of all of this. But he also expects us to do something, to be warriors, to have work, to have faith. I know we have faith, and there's some things we can't control, but we can control whether or not we spread the word. We can control whether we go eat at places that choose to open up. But if you're a business owner, you can choose to open up. Are there consequences? Of course there are. There are risks and consequences in life, but I can promise you, as I told you in May, that this indeed is going to be considered unconstitutional or illegal in the end also. And all those people that opened up and did an incredible amount of business are not going to pay a major price for it. We're having a constitutional attorney, by the way, of Rick Martin, who's going to be joining us tomorrow from Texas, who's going to give you advice that you're not going to find anywhere else because he cannot share it on social media. A lot of his information is pro bono. The information and knowledge you need is on a website that he's going to provide. And if you join that Zoom, you'll hear that if indeed you're a business owner standing up to be able to have to battle the health department and the other departments that are around you. So we just ask you again to enjoy the rest of your evening. I know I've been talking for too long, about 30 minutes. I'm going to cast off for now. I appreciate all of you joining. I just want you to know that, again, lower the fear. Talk to your neighbors. Get ready for Christmas. Try and enjoy the holidays as best we can. Print them off, stand up, and together we can change Michigan. Together we can change the world, and I believe we will. Stand up, Michigan, and have a great evening.